Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be reacting to Mel Kiper having the Washington football team selecting Liberty quarterback Malik Willis with Washington's first pick at pick 11. We'll talk about that and what I think about Malik Willis and if I would take him at pick 11. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. It really does help out the channel a ton. And also go ahead and follow my Twitter. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers on there. Now let's get right into the video. So it is that time of year where a lot of these national pundits and these mock draft guys are putting out their first mock drafts of the year. And Mel Kiper put out his first mock draft of the year today, and he had a little bit of a surprise for Washington. He had Washington taking Liberty quarterback Malik Willis at pick 11 in his first mock draft. Both Kenny Pickett and Matt Corral were available. I do realize I used the wrong word there, stupid autocorrect, but whatever. That's besides the point. So let's go ahead and read what Mel Kiper has to say in this mock draft. And again, this obviously does not mean we're taking Malik Willis. It's still over 2 months away. It's pretty much more than 3 months away from the actual draft, so there's still a lot of time. The Senior Bowl, the Combine, interviews, but this is what he said: time for the first quarterback off the board. You might be surprised that it's Willis, but you really shouldn't be. He was in the QB1 mix all fall before he faded a little bit in the last stretch of the regular season. The more tape I watch of his past 2 seasons, and the more I talk to evaluators in the league, the more I like him. Put simply, Willis is the most talented QB in the class. He didn't always get to show that at Liberty, which didn't have much NFL talent around him, and you guys can see this. He was sacked 51 times this past year. He's a dual threat signal caller. He rushed for 1,822 yards and 27 touchdowns over the past 2 seasons with a powerful arm, and we're going to get to see what he does in the Senior Bowl. And he says, like Denver, Washington could be in the veteran quarterback market, but I like the fit with Willis, and Washington can't go into the season with Taylor Heinicke as a starter. I do agree with that part, but if you're drafting Malik Willis, is he going to be the starter? I mean, from everything I've heard from these mock draft guys, from some of these other guys, is that Malik Willis is a project. He's going to have to sit for at least likely the first season, or at least part of it, and maybe even more than that. So if that's the case, you might have to, sign someone like Jameis Winston or draft a guy, or you just start Heinicke. That's a situation where, again, I'm not a huge fan of trading for Jimmy G, but if we were to trade for Jimmy G and then sit Malik Willis behind him for a year or so, then that's when I'm okay with it. The only way, though, I would be fine with us getting Jimmy G is if we draft a quarterback in the first couple rounds of this year's draft, because if not, it really doesn't mean anything. That's it for the Jimmy G talk, because I made a video about it yesterday, so make sure you guys go ahead and check that out. But in terms of this pick, I'm not a huge fan. I do like Malik Willis, and it's just there's other quarterbacks that I would rather have here at 11 that I think would fit Washington more, their timetable, their offense, just in general. I don't know if I see the fit with Malik Willis in Washington. And again, I've started watching film on Kenny Pickett and Sam Howell. Haven't gotten to Malik Willis yet, Matt Corral, and really haven't even gotten to too many games of Pickett and Howell. But I just don't think at 11 that's great value for a guy that, yes, he is probably the most talented quarterback in this class. Him, Pickett, Corral, but he also probably has the lowest floor out of any of these quarterbacks that are being considered in the first round. I mean, I think all of these other guys, Howell, Matt Corral, Pickett, all those guys, Desmond Ridder, they have higher floors than someone like Malik Willis, and we're not in this, we're not at a point where we can have Malik Willis sit for 2 years behind someone like Taylor Heinicke. If we go for someone like Jimmy G or someone else, that's a little bit different, but he has to sit At least that's what a lot of people are saying, and I tend to agree with that. Let's look at his stats. So, in 2021, 27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, so not bad. But then, again, you have to consider where he's playing. He's playing at Liberty. Very, very low level of competition. They do play some, big name schools, and we're going to get into that. We're going to look at each game he played this past season. 6'1", 215 pounds. So, not ideal size, but definitely not, too short like someone like Heineke. But 6'1", 215 pounds. You'd like that to be a little bit higher, 6'2", 6'3", but it isn't the end of the world to be, an inch or two shorter than usual. And 2020 had a better year, 2,260 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and rushing wise, this past season had 878 rushes, 4.5 yards per carry, and 13 touchdowns. The year before, almost 1,000 rushing yards, 6.7 yards per carry, and 14 touchdowns. So took a little bit of a step back, but he definitely lost some talent. But if you look at the games, this is what concerns me with Malik Willis. And, it is somewhat understandable. But every game against some higher competition, he didn't play well. His good games were against terrible competition. And, you also have to, take into account that he doesn't have great players around him. So that is something you have to take into account. But you look at his best games, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, against not so good of a school. And his completion percentage, 54%. His completion percentage is somewhat low, 61%, especially in college. You'd like to see that a little bit higher. Against Army, okay, solid school right there. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And then Ole Miss, the best opponent they played all year, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And then let's see, any other Syracuse, that's a solid opponent. Comparing it to their other teams they played, and he was solid in that game. 3 touchdowns, he was good in that game. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 73.7% completion percentage. But that's the biggest thing, in my opinion, that concerns me with Malik Willis is the level of competition he's playing. And how that's going to translate to the NFL. It's totally different player, totally different position. But you look at someone like Antonio Gandy-Golden, played at Liberty, not very high level of competition, comes into the NFL, has injuries and other things, but it was a very, very tough transition for him. Malik Willis is a different kind of player because Malik Willis is going to go in the first 2 rounds very likely because, he does have the lowest floor in this class, one of them, but he also has the highest ceiling. So there's going to be a team that takes him in the first or in the second. I would be very surprised if that doesn't happen unless something shocking comes out of the interviews. Another thing that does concern me, and there's 2 parts to this, but he did lose his job to Bo Nix at Auburn, and that in itself is not concerning. But Willis, in this is an interview with The Athletic, Willis admitted that he thought he would simply slide into the starting job once Stidham left. His study off the game and off the offense fell off as a result, or study of the game and of the offense fell off as a result. And when the 4-star Gatewood and 5-star Nix passed him on the depth chart, I was humbled for it. So that to me is concerning, and I do get the latter part, that he did learn from it, but I do not like that first part at all, because this is not that long ago. This is a few years ago, and of course everyone changes, but I don't like that part at all where he thought he would simply slide into the starting job, and his work ethic, he slacked off, and that can happen at certain positions. At quarterback, doesn't matter how good you are, that is the one position where you have to be on top of your game 100% of the time, every single week. All these guys do it. These guys don't take weeks off. They don't take, many days off. The top quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, they're always working. And that is something that does concern me with Malik Willis. If I'm in an interview or I'm asking him, did you learn from that? And it seems like he did. But again, for me personally, that is a red flag. I love his talent, but I would not take him at pick 11 unless things change, because there is there are a lot of things that are in front of us, before the draft process. We have the Senior Bowl coming up. I mean, that is a huge opportunity. We're going to get to see how he stacks up against, Desmond Ridder, Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell. I mean, I'm super excited for the Senior Bowl. We're going to see how he looks against those different guys, and that could definitely increase his stock. The combine, I don't think it'll increase his stock too much, but his fast 40 time, which he will have, he's a dual threat quarterback, that will also increase his stock as well. So we'll see. Quick, scouting report on him. He has not great accuracy. I'll let you guys read this here because, again, did not watch the film on him. He's a great runner, a dual threat. And people that say he doesn't, he's not, he's, just a Lamar Jackson, he can't really throw the ball. And first of all, Lamar Jackson does have, his moments throwing the ball, but Malik Willis is very talented throwing the football. Like, he might be the most talented or second most talented quarterback in terms of, just arm talent in this class alone. Obviously, a lot of his bonus is as a runner, but he's a good thrower. He's a very talented thrower. There's just some things, the mechanics at times are a little bit off. And that's the thing where, that's why you would want to sit him for a year. Sit him behind Heineke or preferably Jimmy G, Jameis Winston, one of those guys where you can still win with. I think that would be what you would have to do with Malik Willis, because I think he needs to sit, work on his touch a little bit, work on his accuracy, some of the mechanics, because the talent is there. You look at what Aaron Rodgers did. His mechanics were off coming into the NFL. He sat for a couple of years, worked on those, and the rest is history. The rest is history. So that's just something that I would do. I just don't think you can start him right away. So that is going to be it for today's video. I want to hear what you guys have to say on Malik Willis. Would you take him at pick 11? Again, would not. I would rather take Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral, probably Sam Howell. Again, there's a lot of time to change these things, but we'll see. I think I would take him in the second, not the first though. So yeah, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Peace, guys.